alone. This is part two. I did part one in the morning, and I said that if I still have enough energy after work, I would do a part two. So here's the part two. Okay, single mother, woman who left a man after they had children for whatever reason. He's abusing me. He's hitting me. He's a gangster. Whatever reason it is, that's single mother. I'm going to go look for a man for love or a better man or whatever reason. That's single mother. A woman who was married and is a single mother because her husband passed away. That's a widow. That's okay. I mean, it's okay. I would consider that. A woman who was divorced, single mother like that, that's not okay. Leave these women alone. And I wanted to define it in this video because I did it in the last video to this degree, right? And I want to take a different perspective on this one. I want to go back in time. When I first immigrated to this country was back in 2001, January, believe it or not, a few months before 9/11. You can imagine how a new family to America would feel. We think America's land of opportunities. Here we are, and boom. Especially because my particular family, I'm Igbo. We started moving out of Nigeria. A lot of Igbos started immigrating out of Nigeria after the Civil War. So, I'm like on the latter end of it, right? But most of my cousins here, I have cousins in their 50s and 60s, came here in the 1980s. And then I ended up coming here in the early 2000s, right? So, anyways, fast forward to 4th grade. I was in the car pickup line and, the carpool line. And a woman, black woman, I don't know what I was doing. It's been so many years. I was misbehaving. I was doing something. An older black woman grabbed me by the arm and yanked me real hard and said, "Look here, boy. You only got one leg to stand on in this world. You got to stand on it strong." I'm 28. That was 4th grade. So her voice has echoed in my ears for 20 years now, right? You'd imagine about 20 years, 18 years. I cherish her words and I hold it and I walk around with it. Not as a crutch, but to be careful. And what she said to me, the meaning has developed so many times throughout my life. By the time I got to middle school, like high school, like 8th, 9th, 10th grade, I started to realize that I was black, like really black. And the consequences of being black, regardless if it's bad or good, black, we're like, especially Igbo, we're supposed to be known as one of the most brilliant races in the world. Tall, dark, handsome, like I have the highest, my genetics has the highest potential of being the 6 feet, 6 inches, 6 this, 6 that, right? So thank God, right? Cool. Whereas other races can maybe get the 6 figures, but they'll more likely not get the 6 feet nor the 6 inches, So I'm close to Superman. Cool. Whatever. And then on the other hand, I realized that, I couldn't chase after a girl. And if I'm told that she's uncomfortable, I better stop doing everything. Because there's something called a restraining order, I quickly learned that and stuff like that. Not through personal experience and also through watching other people, right? Luckily, I had a father and mother. And my father made sure I had enough sense so that, when I had moments like this, I behaved myself, I respected boundaries, whatnot. I didn't go girl crazy. I respected my teachers, whatever the situation was. And then now in reflecting, I go, oh, that could have ended badly for me. Because I was up here thinking Disney, love princess movie, you know. And there are other strategies that I've implemented throughout my life that saved me too. For example, like let's say I want to fly a girl out or whatever, or I want to go on a date. What a lot of women say to me is, oh, you're always late, or oh, you always drag your feet. That being late, that dragging your feet, normally is a negative, but I use it actually to get myself out of dates and, you know, meeting women for this particular live, right? So like I've supposed to have flown out to places before, or flown a girl out, and I dragged my feet. We were supposed to meet, let's say January. Now it's July. I still haven't seen that girl. So I've saved money, and I've saved myself from baby mama drama, whatever could have happened, right? And the times I did take that opportunity, I did go through with it, the effort and the resources I used were never really reciprocated. After I left or whatever, I was quickly dropped, you know? And so I'm saying all these things to show you guys that the words this lady told me years ago when I was in 4th grade, I've carried, and I've paid close attention to how I move. And I've tried my best to be careful, you know? And I don't view her as, oh, she did something crazy to me, said some mean words to me. Wherever she is, if she's still alive, because she was an older black woman, I thank her with all my heart that she took the time out to correct me and told me those specific words. And one of the things that I, now as an older man, older man, I'm very cautious and worried about is, okay, I've made it to this point without ever going to jail. Because that's how I initially translated her advice. I made it to this point without going to jail. Cool. I never robbed nobody. I never trespassed nobody's property. I never ran after some girl mindlessly. You know, I always kept my, I never slapped nobody's mama. I'm good. You know, now I delete people out of my life that may potentially put me in that situation, right? And then the other thing is that I know could get me in trouble is, let's say, oh, I have a baby, now I gotta pay child support. That's a big issue. You know, I read somewhere a few years ago, before I really got hip on what's going on, that black men were actually in prison for not paying child support. And that was like the #3 reason why they could have been in prison, you know? And I actually have nightmares where I would just wake up and sweating like, whew, you know, about it. I don't know if you guys are commenting. When I get home, I'll read the comments and I'll reply then. So if you can stick with the live for 30 minutes, cool. If not, just come back to the video and I'll answer your question if you have any genuine questions. If not, and you're just trolling, that's fine too. So I actually wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and I dream about being a baby daddy and paying child support and whatnot. Like, I actually think about these things like, whoa, you know? And it's really an epidemic. Me and all my guy friends, we run into single mothers, we run into these kind of situations, and we gotta kind of work our way through it real time while managing our real feelings, our feelings, the women's feelings, real situations. Like, one of the best sayings I picked up after college was, the thing about life is this. In college or in school, right, in life, you go to school, right, to learn a lesson. Then you take a test. However, with life, county level politics. I was helping people run for different positions like sheriff, district attorney, these kind of things. I was very interested in those sort of things, and I joined two groups. I joined the Black Muslim Brotherhood like later on in life, the one that Malcolm X was supposed to be in, and I quickly left. And then before then, I joined the NAACP, and I later on left as well. I was in the junior membership of that. The reason why I joined the NAACP, and then the reason why I left is because I saw the membership, and I remember thinking to myself back then that I believe it was like, for sure, it was thousands of dollars a year to be a member of NAACP. Anywhere probably between $3,000 to $8,000, right, to be a member. And I just was thinking, wow, are we supposed to be here for the promotion of black people, to help people, to stand for people? Why is it so expensive? And how can the common black man and common black woman afford to be in this membership? And that was very sour for me. So that's why I left. Now, as an adult who pays bills and understands the cost to run homes and organizations, okay, I now see that. And, you know, I didn't stay long enough to really understand what the so-called memberships, like, you know, what came with it and whatnot. Now, you know, now I can afford $3,000 to $8,000. I don't know if I would pay to be in a group and then give them $3,000 to $8,000. But I now understand it. And if I was really more heavily affiliated and had, you know, was going towards like the politics and whatnot of life, I would definitely do it. Because $3,000 to $8,000, you know, we gotta pay to play. So I get it. Anyways, so I was in youth group of the NAACP. There was this one beautiful woman. I was 2 years older than her, most likely. So I was senior and she was in 10th grade. And this is why I was talking about the whole like restraining order and that whole world. Because when I reflect back, I now realize, oh, in Alabama, I'm 17. At 17, you're an adult. So I can't date a 10th grader. I can't date a 9th grader. I can't be caught messing around. And you know, in high school, people are having babies in high school. So I can't be doing anything like that with none of these girls because I'm 17. The reason why I say, wow, if those young girls knew to play the kind of tricks and games that now women in their mid-20s and later play, I'd be in trouble. And if her or any woman's parents were to be like, oh, we don't like you, they could have really got me in trouble. And so reflecting back and now learning laws and whatnot, I go, wow, I was an adult at 17. I can't date nobody 16 or younger, you know? So that's what I meant by the whole, like, you know, talking about restraining orders and whatnot. Because it's the Wild Wild West. You're a young man, you have blood flowing through your veins, you got a crush, you're maybe in love one day or whatever in that moment. So a lot can happen. However, you need to control it and coordinate and move through it. I'm just gonna say move through and keep going with this conversation. And maneuver. You gotta maneuver through all that, because if you make the wrong mistake, then you can't get through college or get a chance to go through college, become a young professional. You know, so much happens between that 18 to 22 in America. So much happens. So that's why I reflect now and I go, wow. Because there are a couple of things I did that I'm like, ooh, nope. Don't like that, you know. That's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. You know, what if this was a mean woman, not a nice girl, you know? You know, like you know how kids are. You know, like they might be making out in the hallway or something like that. You know what I mean? And then what if a teacher caught you making out in the hallway? Y'all just by yourself somewhere, and then next thing you know, she doesn't want to get in trouble. Then she goes, "Oh, he was, you know, doing something to me." You know. So if I could go back, I would never be alone in any place, any situation with no girl, even if we were just friends. I would not be doing that at all. And that's something that you got to learn. Really, you do have to learn, because later on, when you get into in your young professional, you got to apply the same rules. You cannot be alone in meetings and situations with female coworkers, because what she says will always trump what you say. As a man, you're guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. So now moving on. So in the NAACP, I was in a young youth group, and then there was this young girl that I thought was just gorgeous. When I see her on my Snap stories, because we're still like Snapchat friends. I don't know if she has a Facebook or we're Facebook friends. I don't know. I don't care. But when I see her, she's still very beautiful. She's gaining a little bit of weight. You know, I don't know, maybe that's baby weight or something. But she's still very, very beautiful. And when I tell you, when I saw her, I was like, oh, this is the one I want to marry. I really want to marry this woman. She's it for me, you know? And I guess my body language and just wanting to be around her caught the eye of an older black woman who was like one of the coordinators or something like that for us, right? And she pulled me to the side one day, just a me and her conversation. And she said, "Young man, that girl there is nothing but bad news. Stay away from her. Leave her alone. She's not the one." You know, she told me that. You know, and I watch a lot of these channels these days. Like, for example, I love Riva TV. She's awesome. Dee, I love Dee. She's so cool. I really didn't like her at first because I didn't know where she stood. But she's developed in over like the course of a year or so. I'm like, okay, I rock with you. You're okay. You good. You good. I understand what you're trying to say, what you're doing, and I approve. And then I fell into the Crimson Tide. Somebody called it, a woman named the Crimson Tide, about a year ago. I saw like 1 or 2 videos, and I was just like, she's just talking. She just talking for like 2 hours, you know? And you know, and she wasn't saying nothing terrible. It was just a lot what she was saying. And so I needed time to sit down and actually listen to more and more of her stuff. And so this woman here is what Crimson Tide calls a lioness. It's an older black lioness, you know? And she pulled me aside and gave me advice as if I was her son. Told me, I know she's beautiful, but she's not the one. She's not right in the mind. You will find another one. She's not it. Leave her alone. You know? She wasn't, this is pre all women, believe all women are the queen. What did Dr. Umar say? Cocoa butter, baby oil, black queen goddess. This is all before all this. You know, she talked to me, say, hey, she don't got her mind right. And because this is before, I added her on Snapchat before. And, you know, and now we're on each other's social media. So as the years have progressed, what this woman told me 15 years ago, because I'm about to do my 10 years ago, I'm about to do my 10-year high school reunion. So about 10, 11, 12 years ago has played out. This girl hasn't accomplished much. She looks and moves just like the other girls. And this is just from seeing, you know, a post here, post there. I haven't had a conversation with this girl in years. Most likely 6-7 years. In years. Because I heeded the advice of the girl, of the woman, and I left her alone. And I'm not even saying that girl was stunning me to begin with. She definitely wasn't interested in me. I'm not attractive and all that, right? I've had to grow my attractiveness to try to put myself together. So she wasn't even paying attention to me to begin with. However, because I've been able to see enough. Like, for example, there is another girl. I went to middle school with this girl. Know her for 16 years, at least 18. Because I've known my best friend for about 18 years. So I've known this girl for 18 years. And I tried to hit her up about 3 years ago. And she did the most hyena thing ever. You know, I'm not going to go into it because really the topic is stay away from single mothers. But I'm not going to go into too much. But she's what Chris Natai calls a hyena. Where she's flippity, can't trust what she's saying. When you have a conversation with her, she's very confrontational, argumentative, bringing up things that don't need to be brought up, moving the goalposts like Kevin Samuels used to move. I would say, you know, like you might be talking about apples, and then she starts talking about oranges. You know, stuff like that don't make no sense. And then when you try to explain a misunderstanding, she don't want to understand. She don't want to understand because she never desired or intended to understand, because you are not necessary in her life, and she doesn't even have the respect or the infrastructure to respect or need somebody like you in her life. But that's a whole nother thing. But when I look at her now, I see that girl I really liked all those years ago, and now I go, oh, so this is what the lioness, this is what the older black woman was telling me. And when I tell you guys, it's very sad, because when I grew up, when I was born in Nigeria. So I only know black people. And not just only black people, I know strong black women. But the strong black women in Nigeria that I'm aware of are much different from the strong black women in this country. Because the strong black women in Nigeria that I know talked to me and gave me the kind of advice that woman gave me, and then the one in 4th grade gave me. It's a lot different. It's a very loving, mother-like advice. Fearless advice. Sincere advice. It wasn't no abusive. It wasn't no craziness. If she wanted to spank me or whip me, she could have. And I would have received it very lovingly, and you know, and moved on in my life and grew and benefited from that whooping. But that's not the kind of whooping that the women give, these so-called strong independent women in America give in 2024. They're giving a very abusive, a very manipulative, a very selfish kind of whooping. A kind of whooping, a kind of down talking that don't help nobody. And they doing it